So, hello friends, welcome to Medicine 101. Today we'll talk about antimicrobial drugs. Okay, so before starting the topic, let me say something about these things. So, within the antimicrobial drugs, there are various types of the drugs. Okay, like the cell synthesis inhibitors, the protein synthesis inhibitor, nucleic acid synthesis inhibitors. Okay, or metabolisms. So, today we'll talk about the metabolism. Okay, inhibitors in case of what nucleic acid synthesis. Okay, so let's talk about this point. So first of all, we will talk about the metabolism inhibitors. What are the metabolism inhibitions in case of our nucleic acids? So first of all, we will see how the DNA is getting formed. Okay, in these cases, and how can we prevent these formations of the DNA in these microorganisms? Okay, in these cases. Now, first of all, okay, let me just write these points all of this over here. Okay. Okay, let me use this one over here. Another color, red one. Yes, I got the red one. Now see, if we see the compositions, pteridine, the para-aminobenzoic acid, and the glutamate. These three types of the components are required to form this type of the compounds that will help to formation of the DNA. Now from here, we will get a compound that is known as folic acid. Now there is enzyme. The enzyme will work over here definitely. What is the name of the enzyme? Folic acid synthase. So I'm writing it over folic acid synthase. Okay, in these cases. Now we are getting the folic acid over here. Okay, now this folic acid we can get from the diet as well. From the diet, this folic acid can be also taken. Now, if we see in case of the what microorganisms, this folic acid we already got it over here. Now, for example, this folic acid will be acted by another enzyme that is known as dihydroxyfolic acid reductase. Okay, DH. Okay, let me write the whole form. Dihydroxyfolic acid reductase. That will convert the folic acid within the folinic acid or tetrahydro. Okay, let me write it over here first. Folinic acid. This is the folic acid. This is the folinic acid. Okay, don't get confused with these things. Folinic acid is the same thing. Sorry, the different thing. This is the folic acid. This is the folinic acid. Folinic acid we will get whenever the folic acid will be acted by the dihydroxyfolic acid reductase with this in these cases. Another name for it, tetrahydroxyfolic acid. Now these things help to form the DNA in these organisms. Okay, nucleic acids. Now if you can use some drugs, okay, so for example, if we can use some drug that will inhibit this enzyme over here, or if you can use another type of the drug that will inhibit the enzyme over here. So the ultimately we will see there will be no formation of the folic acid, there will be no formation of the DNA in these cases. So we can just inhibit the DNA synthesis formation. So what type of the drug we can use in the first cases? For example, I am just giving with number one group drugs and number two groups drugs. Okay, in number one, what can you use? Sulfonamides. Sulfonamides. And in number two, we can use trimethoprim. Here we can use trimethoprim. In this case, trimethoprim we can use over here. Okay. Now, these drugs, sulfonamides and the trimethoprim, they are individually what? Both of them are what? Bacteriostatic. Where? Bacteriostatic. It's in the same way, this is also bacteriostatic. Now, if we use the both of these drugs, like 1 plus 2 over here, these two drugs, then there will be what? Bactericidal. Bacteriostatic means what? They will inhibit the growth of the bacteria. Bactericidal means they will just kill the bacteria in a nutshell. You know what we can say? Bacteriostatic means they will inhibit the what? Growth of the bacteria. Bactericidal means they will what? They will kill the bacteria. Okay, the colony of the bacteria is over here. So if we just use the combination of 1 plus 2 in these cases, this drug will be now as bacteria what? Saddle. Bactericidal in these cases. Okay. Now first of all we will talk about the what? Sulfonamides. So within the sulfonamide groups, what are the drugs we can get over here? So let's talk about sulfonamide. First. Now sulfonamides, they will inhibit what? They will inhibit the enzyme what? Folic acid synthase. They will inhibit to produce the folic acid in these cases. Okay. Whatever the drugs will get over here under it, let me write the name. Sulfadoxine. We'll get it over here what? Sulfadoxine. Okay, sulfadoxine will get sulfadoxine. Then we'll get sulfadoxine will get sulfoxazole. We'll get what? Sulfamethoxazole. Okay. We'll get sulfadoxine, we'll get sulfoxazole, we'll get sulfamethoxazole, we'll get sulfosalazine. Sulfosalazine. We'll get also along with these things sulfadiazine. Yes. Sulfadiazine. We will also get what? Dapsone. Dapsone over here. Okay. Now if we just say in terms of the individual drugs over here, okay. The first one, sulfadoxine is the longest acting. So this is the longest, okay, for longest acting. Then if we can use in terms of what? Sulfoxazole, yes. Sulfoxazole is the most lipid soluble. The most lipid soluble over here, okay. Then we can also use in, okay, dermatitis we can use. Dapsone is, in fact, we can say is the drug of choice in these cases. Okay. So dermatitis herpetica. In these cases, dapsone should be the drug of choice in these cases. Okay. And what about sulfasalazine in these cases? Yes, sulfasalazine. This is the drug of choice. Where in case of first ulcerative colitis, yes, colitis. Or in case of also the rheumatic arthritis, we can use in these cases. Okay, ulcerative colitis and rheumatic arthritis. Okay. Now we'll talk about what type of the side effects we can get in sulfonamides. Yes. What are the side effects we can get over here in these cases? Now let's talk about the side effects of these cases over here. First thing, they can cause aplastic anemia. Okay, aplastic anemia. They can cause also, in terms of skin rashes or rashes. They can cause also the SLE. Okay, they can cause also SLE means, how do we know that? In terms of, I already explained these things in terms of the hypersensitivity over there. Now the most important thing over here, they can cause the bilirubin displacement. Oh, what is bilirubin displacement? Okay, now think about this thing. Whenever we know that in terms of the bilirubin is productions conjugated, unconjugated bilirubin, think about this thing that okay, if we use the sulfonamides. Okay, for example, if we are using the sulfonamide drugs, for example, is apart from here the bilirubin is conjugated over here. The bilirubin is conjugated over here. Now if you use the sulfonamide drugs, okay, now whenever we use the sulfonamide drugs, These drugs will replace or displace this one, and it will come over here. And whenever it will come over here, that what? The bilirubin that will be free right now. Now we know in case of the neonates, the blood-brain barrier that is not developed properly. That is not we cannot see the complete blood-brain barrier in case of the neonates. So there is chances for the bilirubin to go within the what central nervous system, that is within the brain. After going there, they can cause the cardiac tears. It's the most dangerous for these things. Okay, for cardiac tears. So they can cause the aplastic anemia. They can also the G6DP deficiency, glucose 6. They can cause also by doing this hemolysis. In these cases, they can cause. So this type of the side effects you can get in these cases. Okay. And along with that, you can remember in terms of the crystal urea. Yes. So they can also cause the formation of crystal urea. Okay. This type of the things. Now we'll talk about if we can use some combinations of some drugs along with the sulfonamide and the what trimethoprim or pyrimethamine. Okay, so we'll talk about those things right now. Now let's talk about those things over here. Now we can use some types of the drugs in terms of the combinations of the drugs. Okay. Now the first one we'll talk about over here, the quatrimoxazole. Let's talk about first things over here, the quatrimoxazole. What is it and how can we just form these drugs? So quatrimoxazole, if we just say in these things, there is a combination of the two types of the drugs over here. Okay. The two types of the drugs are trimethoprim and trimethoprim plus sulfamethoxazole. So sulfamethoxazole, trimethoprim plus sulfamethoxazole. In these cases, we can use in terms whenever we will talk in terms of the tablet. We use in terms of 1:5 ratio. But whenever it will come within the body, that we will see in this case the ratio will be 1:20. Okay. The trimethoprim plus sulfamethoxazole, in these cases this type of the ratio are taken in this case. Okay. What type of the uses we can see in these cases. That's the main thing over here. Okay. So we can use in pneumonia. Microbial over here we can use in terms of the nocardia. Okay. And you can use also in some types of the bacterial infection, just like the Klebsiella. Okay. So this type of the uses we can get over here. Now another combinations of the drugs we can also get, but there is no the finite names or indefinite name of these things. But we can use in this way. Let me just write the name of these drugs over here. We can use sulfadoxine plus pyrimethamine. Yes, so pyrimethamine. So we can use over here sulfadoxine plus pyrimethamine. In this you can use the combinations, and this type of the combinations are useful for treating the malaria. We can use in terms of the toxoplasmosis. So we can use in terms of the toxoplasmosis, we can use in terms of the malaria. Okay. Now we'll talk about some groups of the drugs that will inhibit the DNA gyrase enzymes. So DNA gyrase enzyme inhibitors. So we'll talk about those things. Now about the DNA gyrase enzyme inhibitor we'll talk about in the subsequent parts of the video. Otherwise the video will be longer. So that all antimicrobial drugs within these things. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching.